Forget everything you learned in biology class. We've been looking for aliens in the stars for decades, but we've been looking in the wrong direction. Right now, on this planet, there are creatures that don't just break the laws of nature. They ignore them entirely. Imagine an animal that has solved death. A creature that, when it gets too old, simply resets its own DNA and starts over. Imagine a predator that strikes with the force of a .22 caliber bullet, creating temperatures hotter than the surface of the sun in the palm of its hand. We're talking about biological tech that makes our most advanced satellites look like stone tools. There is an organism currently living on the moon, right now, surviving in a vacuum that should boil its blood instantly. There's a fish that can be buried alive in a dry brick for 5 years, only to swim out of a wall the moment it touches water. These aren't just strange animals. These are glitches in the matrix, biological anomalies that should not exist according to every textbook ever written. One of these creatures sees colors that the human brain literally cannot process. Another has been alive since the Renaissance and hasn't aged a single day. If we could harness just 1% of their DNA, we could cure aging, survive interstellar travel, and redefine what it means to be alive. I've spent months tracking down the 10 most alien organisms currently hiding on Earth. Some are in your backyard. Others are in the crushing darkness of the abyss. Strap in, because once you see what these things can do, you'll never look at nature the same way again. Number 10 will make you question if we're actually alone on this planet. If you saw this creature in an aquarium, you'd think it was harmless, beautiful, almost decorative, a rainbow shrimp, a living postcard, something you'd admire for a moment and move on from. But what you're actually looking at is the most efficient close combat weapon ever produced by nature. Scientists call it Odontodactylus ciliaris. In ballistics, it has another name, the Smasher. In the time it takes you to blink once, this animal can strike 50 times. Not metaphorically, not really fast, literally fast enough to break the rules of physics. This isn't an animal. This is proof that biology has a weapons program. Let's talk acceleration. Not strength, not size, acceleration. If a human arm could accelerate like a Mantis Shrimp's club, you could throw a baseball into orbit. Those clubs accelerate at 10,000 G, the same acceleration as a .22 caliber bullet leaving a gun. But here's the impossible part. This happens underwater. Water is heavy, dense, resistant. At that speed, water should behave like concrete. So the Mantis Shrimp doesn't fight physics. Cheats. Inside its body is a biological crossbow, a spring-loaded structure called a saddle. Muscles slowly load it. A mechanical latch locks it in place. And when it releases, the strike isn't powered by muscle. It's powered by stored mechanical energy, which means when the shrimp misses, the prey still dies. When the club moves at 23 meters per second, it creates a cavitation bubble. The water pressure drops so fast it briefly becomes a vacuum. And when that bubble collapses, it releases a shockwave louder than a jet engine. For a fraction of a nanosecond, the temperature inside that bubble reaches 8,500 degrees Fahrenheit, almost as hot as the surface of the sun. This shrimp creates plasma with its bare hands. The prey doesn't just get hit, it gets crushed, shockwaved, cooked, and vaporized all in the same millisecond. This is why Mantis Shrimp can shatter crab shells, break snail armor, and crack glass aquariums. That's not a myth. They have to be kept in reinforced acrylic, or they will literally punch their way out. But raw power is useless if you can't see your target. And this is where the Mantis Shrimp becomes unfair. Humans see the world in 3 colors: red, green, blue. Every movie you've ever watched, every sunset you've ever loved. That's it. The Mantis Shrimp has 16 photoreceptors. 16. They see ultraviolet, infrared, circularly polarized light, things we don't even have words for. To them, a clear piece of glass might glow like a neon billboard. Their eyes process information so fast they don't even need a brain to interpret color. The eyes do it themselves. Engineers are now studying Mantis Shrimp vision to build better satellite sensors, advanced medical scanners, and self-driving car optics. This animal doesn't just see reality. It sees the source code, a punch that makes fire, eyes that see the invisible, armor stronger than aerospace ceramics. The Mantis Shrimp isn't balanced. Evolution didn't optimize it for survival. It optimized it for dominance. That's why scientists call creatures like this evolutionary overkills, designed so extreme they feel less like animals and more like prototypes. If you were diving in the tropics and heard a sound like a pistol firing underwater, your brain would immediately assume danger. A spear gun, a malfunctioning tank, another diver. But you'd be looking for the wrong hunter. That sharp, violent crack you just heard was the loudest biological noise ever recorded in the ocean. And it came from an animal barely longer than your thumb. Nearby, a small fish goes completely limp and drifts upward. Meet the pistol shrimp. 2 inches long, no armor, no speed, and yet, it fires one of the most powerful weapons on Earth. The pistol shrimp belongs to the family Alphiidae. Unlike most crustaceans, its oversized claw isn't designed to grab. It's designed to detonate. There are no teeth, no crushing surfaces. Instead, the claw works like a biological firearm. One side acts as a hammer, the other an anvil. When the shrimp pulls the claw back, a massive muscle slowly stores energy, far more than the animal could ever release normally. When it fires, the claw snaps shut so fast that water doesn't have time to move. It simply vanishes, and in that empty space, physics breaks. As the claw closes, it ejects a focused jet of water traveling over 60 miles per hour. That speed creates supercavitation. The pressure drops so violently that water boils at room temperature. A tiny vapor bubble is born, and when it collapses, reality glitches. For a fraction of a millisecond, the temperature inside that bubble reaches 8,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Hotter than molten lava, hotter than the surface of the sun. This phenomenon is called sonoluminescence, light created from sound. The pistol shrimp briefly creates a microscopic star with its claw. At 218 decibels, this snap is louder than a jet engine and rivals a gunshot at point-blank range. Fish don't get chased. They get shut down. Nervous systems overload. Exoskeletons crack. Prey dies without ever being touched. This shrimp doesn't hunt with force. It hunts with pressure and sound. One pistol shrimp is artillery. A colony of them is electronic warfare. During World War II, US Navy sonar operators noticed something strange. Entire sections of ocean were unusable. Sonar screens filled with constant crackling noise, like distant machine gun fire. They suspected a secret enemy weapon. It wasn't. It was millions of pistol shrimp firing constantly. Entire reefs turned into natural sonar jammers. Even today, modern submarines exploit this. They hide near pistol shrimp beds so their billion-dollar engines disappear behind the noise of a 2-inch animal. Nature invented stealth technology long before humans did. The pistol shrimp proves something terrifying. You don't need size. You don't need speed. You don't even need contact. You just need to weaponize physics. We've now seen the impact of the mantis shrimp and the artillery of the pistol shrimp. But fire and force have limits. So let's ask a more dangerous question. What if an animal didn't need to fight you at all? What if it could simply convince the entire ecosystem that it isn't there? In the open ocean, there is nowhere to hide. No rocks, no shadows, no escape. And yet, something is watching. A venomous sea snake glides across the sand. Shouldn't be here. Then it stops. Its skin ripples in a way that feels wrong, like a video buffering. The body collapses, unfolds, and becomes an octopus. This wasn't a snake. It was a lie. Meet Thomoctopus mimicus, the Mimic Octopus, an animal so effective at deception that it avoided human discovery until 1998. Not because it was rare, but because it was never itself. Most octopuses can change color. That's camouflage. This is something else. The Mimic Octopus doesn't ask, "How do I blend in?" It asks, "What scares you the most?" Watch the movement. Not similar, not close, identical. The same rhythm, the same hesitation, the same confidence. Now watch this. The octopus tucks 6 arms into a burrow. 2 arms extend, striped. A damselfish approaches. The Mimic Octopus knows something critical. Damselfish are terrified of venomous sea snakes. So the octopus becomes one. It doesn't chase. It doesn't attack. It simply exists as fear. This isn't camouflage. This is psychological warfare. Here's where it stops being animal behavior. An octopus doesn't think like you. It doesn't even think like a mammal. 2/3 of its neurons aren't in its brain. They're in its arms. Each tentacle has its own decision-making center. Its body isn't controlled. It's negotiated with. The skin is a living display. Thousands of chromatophores expand and contract in milliseconds. Underneath them, muscle fibers sculpt texture. Smooth becomes spiked. Flat becomes ridged. Soft becomes armored. All in under 2 seconds. This isn't a disguise. It's real-time biological three-dimensional printing. No mirrors, no practice, just instant transformation. This is where the horror shifts. The mimic octopus doesn't always transform immediately. Sometimes it waits. Scientists have observed it watching prey, studying movement, patterns, reactions. Then it does something disturbing. It mimics a female crab. Male crabs leave safety not because they're attacked, but because they're tricked. This is the long con. This is manipulation. A level of situational awareness once thought exclusive to primates. To us, look at the eye. The pupil isn't round. It's rectangular. And when it looks at you, it feels like something is looking back. Not instinct, calculation. Asking one question, what do I need to be for you to trust me? The mimic octopus slowly dissolves into the sand until it's gone. We've completed the weapons of the deep. The boxer breaking physics with impact. The artillery firing plasma with sound. And now the spy, an animal that doesn't overpower you. It replaces reality. But the ocean's intelligence is nothing compared to what happens when evolution abandons beauty altogether. What comes next isn't about power. It's about biological horror. Creatures that shouldn't just be strange. They should be impossible. The next one sees the world by touching it with its face. Welcome to the nightmare. Deep beneath the wetlands of North America, below roots, below water, below light itself, there is a world where vision is useless. No color, no distance, no warning. And in that darkness lives a creature that shouldn't exist. The dirt ruptures. A fleshy star explodes into view, twitching violently. It has no eyes to watch you, no ears to hear you coming, but it knows exactly where you are, because it doesn't just touch the world. It processes it faster than your brain can scream. 22 pink tentacles writhe independently. This is Condylura crustata, the star-nosed mole. To look at it feels wrong, but to understand it is to realize you're looking at one of the most efficient killing machines ever evolved. That thing on its face is not a nose. It's a supercomputer. Each of the 22 fleshy tentacles is packed with thousands of microscopic sensors called Eimer's organs. Over 25,000 of them. Your entire hand has about 17,000. This mole has more sensory input in a space smaller than your thumbnail than you have in your entire upper body. When it moves through the ground, it isn't sniffing. It's scanning, touching, releasing, retouching, up to 13 locations per second. This brain doesn't build images. It builds instant three-dimensional maps made entirely of pressure and texture. It doesn't see the world. It feels it into existence. In 2005, scientists measured something impossible. From first contact to identification to decision to consumption, 227 milliseconds. That's not fast. That's inhuman. Before your brain can register that food exists, this animal has already swallowed it and moved on. It is the fastest forager ever recorded. Not because it moves quickly, but because its neurons do. Its nervous system fires at the absolute edge of biological limits. This isn't instinct. It's raw processing power. A creature optimized not for strength, but for speed of thought. But the nightmare doesn't stop in the dirt. The star-nosed mole also hunts underwater. And it does something mammals are not supposed to do. It blows tiny air bubbles onto objects, then pulls them back in. Those bubbles collect scent molecules. The mole smells them as they return. It's underwater scent tracking, a biological cheat code. Mud, water, darkness, it doesn't matter. There is nowhere you can hide where the star cannot reach. The star-nosed mole proves something unsettling. Eyes are optional. Speed is everything. If you can process the world faster than anyone else, you don't need to chase. You don't need to fight. You simply arrive first. But as disturbing as a living flesh star may be, this is only the beginning. Because next, evolution removes the skin. Imagine seeing a creature's heartbeat from the outside. Imagine an animal that turned its own body into a window. In nature, skin is a wall. It hides your organs. protects your blood, keeps your secrets buried beneath muscle and bone. But here, the wall is gone. First, there is nothing. Then two gold-rimmed eyes slowly emerge from emptiness. This isn't camouflage made of color. This is camouflage made of absence. You are not looking at an animation. You are not looking at a medical illustration. You are looking through a living animal, a heart, beating, exposed. This is the glass frog, the only creature on Earth that turned its own body into a window. Most transparent animals live in the deep sea, where bodies are simple and pressure does the work. The glass frog doesn't have that luxury. It lives in trees, in sunlight, in air. It has bones, muscle fibers, a complex digestive system, and yet, its belly, skin, and muscle contain almost no pigment. Light doesn't stop at its body, passes straight through. So instead of casting a shadow on a leaf, the frog becomes part of the light itself. To a predator looking up from below, there is no silhouette, only forest. But this level of invisibility comes at a cost, because transparency creates a fatal problem: blood. Here is the mystery that confused scientists for decades. Even if your skin is clear, blood is red, bright, obvious, impossible to hide. So when the glass frog goes to sleep, it performs a biological act that would kill a human in minutes. As it rests, the frog removes nearly 90% of its red blood cells from circulation. It stores them inside its liver. The liver itself is wrapped in a mirror-like, reflective tissue that hides the concentrated blood. For hours, the frog's blood becomes almost colorless. No clots, no oxygen failure, no stroke. If human medicine understood how this frog packs blood cells together without triggering death, heart attacks could become optional. Strokes could become obsolete. A solution to one of medicine's greatest problems is hiding inside a frog the size of your thumb. The glass frog lives on the edge of erasure. It doesn't fight. It doesn't flee. It refuses to exist. Some species take this even further. Their bones aren't white. They're green. Even the skeleton blends with chlorophyll. Every layer of this animal has been optimized to dissolve into the background. But fragility doesn't mean weakness. Male glass frogs guard their eggs with surgical aggression. They kick away insects twice their size. They fight in silence. They never reveal themselves. Transparent guardians protecting transparent life. Ghosts defending ghosts. The glass frog teaches us something unsettling. Sometimes survival isn't about armor. It's about surrendering visibility. But Act 2 was never about beauty alone. Transparency is only the polite side of biological horror. Now we descend past sunlight, past color, past anything familiar, to a creature that looks unfinished. A balloon of flesh, no face, no eyes, no bones. It breathes through its skin and moves in herds like something grown in a lab. You just watched 5 animals do things that shouldn't be possible. One punches with the force of a bullet. One fires heat and light using sound. One survives by lying to reality itself. One processes the world faster than thought. And one disappears while still alive. None of them were designed by technology. None of them are experiments. They exist naturally, right now, on this planet. And here's the uncomfortable part. Every creature you just saw was discovered by accident. Not because they were rare, but because we weren't looking in the right way. If nature can hide weapons like this in coral reefs, supercomputers in underground tunnels, and invisibility inside a rainforest leaf, then ask yourself this. What else is already here that we haven't noticed yet? Because the ocean isn't finished surprising us. The ground beneath your feet isn't fully understood. And evolution doesn't stop creating just because humans stop paying attention. This channel isn't really about animals. It's about the things biology figured out long before we showed up. And every episode after this one gets stranger, darker, and more impossible. So if you think you've already seen the weirdest life on Earth, subscribe, because the next creature makes these 5 look normal. And once you see it, you won't look at life the same way again.